G'day everybody, Ken from Oz here and welcome to How to Speak Australian, and this is the B words video. So let's get straight into it. Lots of B words for all Australian speakers. First one we're going to start with is back of beyond. So what does that mean? It means Australians use it when we're talking about something that is just really far away and there's nothing really around it. So if your house is in the country, isolated, you'd say, oh yeah, they live back of beyond. So back of beyond, far away place. Barbie. Now, a lot of people know that word now, but if you're not sure about it, it really means barbecue. So Paul Hogan made it famous in a commercial, put another shrimp on the barbie. So if you invite someone over for a barbie, you're actually asking them to come over for a barbecue, which is a dinner. Battler. If you call someone a battler in Australia, they're someone who has had a lot of difficulties and they're struggling through them and they just keep on keeping going. So if someone's a real battler, and we also have a term Aussie battler, which just means that life isn't easy, but they just keep on working very hard, and we have a lot of respect for people who are battlers in Australia. Beauty. Beauty is a way of saying that is great, or it's a shortened term for beautiful, usually with a thumbs up, and maybe accompanied if you're answering someone and saying, yep, that's correct, or that's right, or I like it, you might say beauty mate. So beauty, and it's pronounced not beauty, but beauty. Bloke, the Australian word for man. So you might say, well, I reckon they're a pretty good bloke. That's just the way we talk about men in Australia. Bloke. Bogan. Now, bogan is really a term used for someone who is not really wealthy and perhaps does things a little bit differently to the rest of society, and I guess there's an equivalent in the American language. White trash would probably be an example, although being a bogan in Australia is not that bad. So it's just people who just do things just a little bit differently, and yeah, bogan. Brickie. Well, brickie is an Australian term for bricklayer, and so if you're ever getting someone to build your house and they're laying bricks, we call them a brickie. Bluey. Now, bluey is an Australian term which is a bit hard to explain, but anyone in Australia that has red hair, we tend to call them bluey, and it's really the opposite. Blue is the opposite colour for red, and it's a bit of a term of endearment, and yeah, so if you've got red hair, someone would say, hey bluey, get over here. So bluey means someone who has red hair. Not to be confused with blowy. Now, blowy means blowfly. In Australia, we have regular flies like we do around the world, and then we have these huge flies that just land on you and they sting, and so they're called blowflies, and a blowy is a huge fly that you find in Australia. Buckley's chance. Well, Buckley's chance is really a term that we use when you making a comment about someone, saying they don't really have a lot of chances to be successful. So if someone says, oh, I'm going to ask this girl out for a date, and you might reply, oh, well, mate, you've got Buckley's chance of doing that. Buckley's chance means you don't have a lot of chance. Who was Buckley? Don't know that one. But we use it all the time, and it usually just means you don't really have a chance of succeeding. Blotto. Blotto is a term we use when someone has overused beer or alcohol and has got completely drunk. So really it's an Australian word for drunk. So you might say, oh, well, I drank a lot on the weekend, I was really blotto, and that's what blotto means. Brown nose, a little bit of an interesting term. A brown nose is a word we use to describe someone who tries to do the right thing at work and to make their boss like them. So we say they're a brown nose, or acting like a brown nose to try and get favour with someone of importance, usually in the workplace, usually their boss. So not something you'd want to be called in Australia. And we have another term attached that they want to suck up to somebody else. So brown nose means someone who's trying to rise up in the ladder in a business and tries to make the boss like them. Brass razoo. Brass razoo is an older term. It just means that if you don't have any money at all, you don't even have a brass razoo. So I guess it's a term that we use when we really don't have any money at all. And so brass razoo is the last thing you would have in your pocket before you have completely no money. Bushie. Bushie is an Australian term for people who live in the bush, short for bushman. Swagman in the Waltzing Matilda song, Jolly Swagman, well, they were all bushies. People who travel around the countryside and usually have a swag or a bag on their back, and they camp out in the open air at night. And so it's a term of endearment, and it's quite a good symbolism of Australia to be called a bushie. So those people who just camp around in the countryside, call them a bushie. Bludger. Now, a bludger is someone who really doesn't do their job properly or waits for other people to do their job. So if someone is, say you're in a group and you're trying to perform a task and someone just doesn't even lift a finger to help, you call them a bludger. So it's not a positive term, but a bludger is someone you don't want to be called a bludger because it means you're really not pulling your weight in a situation. So B for bludger. Brickie is a shortened term for breakfast, and although it sounds like a small kid's word, in fact almost everyone in Australia would use breckie at some stage just to refer to breakfast. So breckie, breakfast. A bitzer, referring to animals, if you've got two, especially dogs or cats, but usually dogs, that you can't really tell what pedigree they are because they've been mixed with their breeds, so they're a bitzer, which I guess is a shortened term for a bit of everything. So if you're referring to a dog, it could be called a bitzer, and it can be used for people, I guess, but I won't go into the reasons why. So bitzer means made up of a bit of everything and usually applies to pets, especially dogs. And lastly, budgie smugglers. Now I added that one in because it's related directly to our Prime Minister, who is notorious for wearing budgie smugglers, and that refers to bathing suits, or in particular male bathing suits, Speedos. So budgie smugglers is referring to the fact that Speedos, when you wear them, looks like you're trying to smuggle some budgies somewhere in your bathing suit. I'll let you work out that image for yourself. So budgie smugglers, B for budgie smugglers, and that's all for the B words for this video. So stay tuned for another video, just check the link, and thanks for watching. So this is Kent from Oz, and thanks for watching How to Speak Australian, and we'll see you in another Australian video. Bye for now.